Good morning, class. Today's lesson for Tech Math 4.1, which is on additive, multiplicative, and ciphered systems of numeration. You may or may not have known it, but the number system we use was not always the number system that was used. Let's check this out. First off, we have to define what's a number versus what's a numeral. So a number is an actual quantity. Like you have 2 eyes. You have 10 fingers. It answers the question, how many? However, we can't just have that be a thought process. We actually need to be able to decipher and see what we're talking about. And so that's where the numerals come in. So numerals are symbols that represent a number. And this numeral, and, well, this thing didn't turn out right, but this little kind of cool looking carrot looking thing. This is Babylonian, actually. All of these represent the number 10. Pretty cool stuff. Let's keep rocking. So in our systems of numeration, as we look at this, different systems consist of sets of numerals and a rule for combining the numerals to represent some kind of number system. You guys know what this means. If I put this up here, if I were to give you $1,000, you know that is a certain amount. Like we use dollar bills here in the States, and you would have 1,000 of them. You could lay them out, you could count them, you could roll around in them, whatever the case may be. Well, the system that we use, that's called the Hindu-Arabic system. And our system uses the characters, let me show you the characters. It uses this one, and this one, and this one, and that one, and this one, and this one. I'm doing this with a mouse, which is pretty impressive. Whoops, spoke too soon. We'll turn this into a 6. This one, and this one, and this one. So these are the characters of the Hindu-Arabic system, and using these characters, we can create any of the numbers that we talk about. Sometimes we'll throw out decimals in between, to give different value systems, but that's the Hindu-Arabic system. There are 4 other types of numeration systems that are used by different cultures around the world, and we'll take a look at those here. Each of these falls into one of these 4 categories. We have additive, you can also call this repetitive, multiplicative, this is where you multiply together, ciphered, that's kind of a tough one because it really is, you have a code you basically crack, and then place value. So we'll look at systems of each of these as we work through this lesson 4.1. The additive system is considerably kind of the oldest system in existence as far as dated time goes and counting things. The number is represented by the sum of the values of the numerals. So, for example, just trying to bring it back to what we know, if I were to have this number here, we in Hindu-Arabic would say this is 1,234. If we were using an additive system, this would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So this would actually be equal to 10. But that's not the case for our Hindu-Arabic system. It is, however, the case for what we're going to see here in a second. So the first example here is the Egyptian numerals. The Egyptian numerals, as you can see, we have this special code here that they all stand for. So you can see there's a vertical line for 1, arch for 10, a coil for 100, a lotus flower, a little more complex, for 1,000, a pointing finger, which is interesting, for 10,000, tadpole for 100,000, and the million is the astonished person. Kind of funny. So, for example, to write 600, we would actually make 6 of those coils. So this would be 600. 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 coils. Oh, nope, sorry, let me clear that out. 6 coils is 600. Wow, cool stuff. All right. Another example, 20,301. Well, we would need to get the 20,301. We would need 2 fingers, and then we don't need any of the 1,000, so we don't need any of these guys. So we'd have 2 pointing fingers, and then we would have 3 coils, and then we would have 1 vertical line, and that would be our number. Not going to take the time to draw that, but you kind of get the idea. So we have to hit the 20,000, so we need 2 of the pointing fingers. 300, so we need 3 of the coils, and 1, so we need 1 vertical line. Great big number. Okay, sorry, this is another way to look at it. Yep, so 2 times the 10,000, 3 times 100, and 1 vertical line. This number here, similar concept. We're going to need 4 of the thing that is the 10,000, so 4 pointing fingers. We're going to need 3 of the thing that is 3,000, so 3 lotus flowers. We're going to need 6 of the thing that's 100, so 6 coils. We're going to need 2 of the thing that's 10, so 2 arches. And we're going to need 8 of the thing that's 1, so 8 vertical lines. So you, in your assignment and homework, get a chance to write some Egyptian numerals. That's exciting. Enjoy. Another system we have here, the Roman numeral system. Some of you are probably familiar about this. You can add and subtract within this numbering system. If you ever watch the Super Bowl, they have them labeled like L, X, X, whatever the case may be. In this section, again, go back to the reading if you're not sure, but you can then see how to read these parts. So you start from the left and you work your way to the, starting from the left, add each numeral unless its value is smaller than the value of the numeral to its right. And you can only subtract 1 or 10 or 100 or 1,000. And they can only be subtracted from the numerals 2 higher than themselves. Kind of wild. So here's an example. 289 is a Roman numeral. Well, we have the 200, which is C, plus the 80, which is, you can make that with a L and some X's. And so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to have 2 of the 100s, so that's going to be CC. A 50, so we're going to throw an L in there. 3 10s, so it's going to be XXX. And to get that 9, we have to do a 10 minus 1, so it's going to be IX at the end. 10 minus 1, that's how we write our 9. So here it is, CC for the 200s, L for the 50. The 3 10s here is 3 X's, and then 9 is an I with an X after it because 9 is written as 10 minus 1. Cool. Let's try another one. So to go the other direction, we have our D, C, X, L, V, I. How can we write that as our normal numeration? Well, first we look at D, and D is 500. Then we look at C. C is 100. And then we see that we have an X with an L after it. Well, X is 10, and L is a bigger number, 50. So XL would be actually 50 minus 10. Sorry, I got stuck there for a second. 50 minus 10. And then we have an I, which is V. And then we have a V, which is 5. Well, and then we have the I at the end here, which is 1. So we write this out. 500 for the D, 100 for the C. XL is actually 50 minus 10. And then we've got 5, and then we've got 1. So that's 646. One more example here, MCCLXII. How can we write that out in Hindu Arabic? Well, again, M is 1,000. These 2 C's are going to be 2 100s. The L is going to be a 50. The X, so since the X is after the L, we don't do any of that subtraction stuff. It's smaller, bigger to smaller. That's going to be plus 10. And the 2 ones at the end is 1 and 1. We get 1,000 plus 100 plus 100 plus 50 plus 10 plus 1 plus 1. 1,262. So that's Roman numerals. And again, the only funky part is that we read from left to right, and we add the numeral values unless the one directly before a second one is smaller, then we subtract that amount. Oof. All right, next up, multiplicative systems. In multiplicative systems, this is kind of more so for the Chinese system. We actually multiply the product. So we're going to find the product here. So, for example, 642 is going to be 6 times 100, and then times 4 times 10 times 2. Let's see what that means. In the system, as I mentioned, for multiplicative systems, we're looking at is the Chinese numeral system. There's actually an extra credit assignment in the back. If you want to grab it to use, you can get some extra credit for this assignment. It's basically just a simple Chinese numeration worksheet, something you might have gotten in kindergarten or first grade when you were learning our normal alphabet. You can do the same thing with these Chinese numerals. So go ahead and grab that extra credit sheet if you think you need some extra credit. But when we look at these numeral systems in Chinese, if we're looking at 428, we would actually write it. It's hard to do it on PowerPoint, but you would write it as the 4 character, and then beneath the 4 character, let me see if I can bring it back to pen. So we'd write the 4 character, something like this. And then beneath the 4 character, we'd write the 100 character, which is yo. That's something. Okay, again, I'm doing this with a mouse. You should give me a lot of applause. And then underneath that, we'd put the 2 character. So that's this. And underneath that, we'd put the tens characters. That's this cross, which is kind of cool. And then underneath that, we put the 8 character, which is this guy right here. So this is how you would write the number 428 in Chinese. So this is 4 times 100 times 2 times 10 times 8. All right. So another number, oops, let me get back here. There we go. 376, same kind of concept. We'd put the 3, which is 3 lines. And since it's 100, we put the 100 symbol underneath. Again, I'm doing this kind of with a mouse, so applause for me anyways. Then we do the 7 symbol, which is this symbol here. And then we would do the 10 symbol, which is the cross again, pretty cool. And lastly, we do the 6, which is this little person. Okay. Oh, and I think in my previous one, I actually used the 6 instead of the 2. So that's my bad. Sorry about that. So that should have been over here. But I'm not going to go back and remake this because I think it's kind of common sense or makes sense, hopefully. All right. Next type of systems we have are ciphered systems. And in ciphered systems, it's just a one where there's a lot of numbers for numbers and up to including the base for multiples of the base. So we use all kinds of different characters. The downside is it requires a ton of memorization. Again, we're going to see this once or twice. You're not going to see this really beyond the quiz and the test and this homework. So we're not going to be doing the memorization part. You're going to have a table to work with. But it allows for numbers to be written in compact form. So you can write really big numbers in a really small way. We use this system in encrypted codes and computer program, etc. Because again, we can compact the information. We have a lot of information. We can make it very compact. All right, let's take a look at an example here. So the Ionic Greek numeral system uses this, developed in about 3000 BC. And as we look at this table here, kind of a wild table, you can see there's a lot going on here. So we've got to do 24, you have 20 plus 4. Well, we got to know that the 20 is this symbol right here, kappa, and 4 is this symbol right here, delta. So you put those two symbols together, that's 24. 996, well, 900, we need the sampi. 90, we then need the kopa. And 6, we then need the vowel, which is kind of wild that those symbols are actually obsolete. And it's kind of crazy, I thought. So anyways, yeah, you would write it like this. Sampi, kopa, vowel. So Ionic Greek numerals, you will have a table to help you with these as we go into future assessments of your ability to decipher these codes. When you throw a prime down, it's placed above a number, it multiplies that number by 1,000. I know, it just gets more and more exciting. So this one here, you have beta, which is 2, but then the little prime here makes it 2,000. You have this omega here, I think it is. Is that right? No. Where is this symbol? Oh, there it is. Sorry, sigma. Sigma prime is 200 times 1,000, 200,000. Here we have, I believe it's theta. Let's see if I can find it. There it is, theta. So that's 9 times 1,000 because it's got one little prime on it. So that's 9,000, but then we're going to add to it 400. Okay, here's 400. Upsilon. And also this symbol here, which is 30, our lambda. And then lastly, our B beta to get 9,432. Woo! So systems of numerations, we got a couple of them that we're taking a look at. And as you kind of work through these, again, check your work, double check your work. But our basic assignment is this, page 153. And I kind of try to chop it up a little bit so it's not quite such a big assignment. So these selected numbers are the ones you're going to do. As I mentioned, there will be an extra credit assignment, EC, in the back, extra credit. And basically it's writing out the Chinese characters. So it's a worksheet. Put your name on top. Oh, wow, that's a Chinese character, maybe. Anyhow, and you're going to write them out. So just kind of a little practice sheet if you want some bonus points. Best of luck, and I will see you in class.